rise and join me in saluting the flag. And we'd like to acknowledge that we are meeting on the ancestral grounds of the Bay Miwoks and the Yokots. I lost that somewhere in translation when we came over from the other side. We're going to have our roll call. Trustee Fowler. Trustee Cound. Here. Trustee Mayo. Here. Trustee McFerrin. Here. Trustee Mason is here, and we will not be joined by Trustee Nzeli this evening. That takes us to the review and potential approval of the agenda.
Madam President, if I may, I would like to pull item 11.6, and I would like to move item 18.1 and 18.7 and turn those items into 14.1 and 14.2. It was 18.1 and 18.7.
Madam President, I move the agenda be adopted with item 11.6 being pulled and item 18.1 becoming 14.1 and 18.7 becoming 14.2.
Thank you. Have a motion in a second. Trustee Fowler.
Yes.
Pause for technical difficulties. I think while we're waiting, it would be okay for me to go ahead and do the report out from closed session. 7.1 negotiations. The board may discuss negotiations or provide direction to representatives regarding represented employees pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. The board received information on that item. 7.2 possible discipline, dismissal, release, or reassignment of public employee, Government Code Section 54957B1. Again, the board received information on that. 7.3 public employee performance evaluation superintendent pursuant to Government Code Section 54957, and the board and the superintendent had a conversation. Okay. And that passes for, I guess it was 401 with one absent and approval from our student trustee. Takes us to public comment. Public comment. The public may address the board regarding any item within the jurisdiction of the Board of Education in the Mount Diablo Unified School District that is not on the agenda. These presentations are limited to 3 minutes each, or a total of 30 minutes for all speakers, or the 3-minute limit may be shortened. If there are multiple speakers on any one subject, the public comment period may be moved to the end of the meeting. Speakers are not allowed to yield their time. And just a reminder, pursuant to the Brown Act, this is our time to listen and not to engage in conversation with you, but your comments will be heard and recorded into the record. Having said that, we've got Sean Dunn,
My name's Sean Dunn, and let me know when my time starts. No? Okay. So I have two daughters that attend Mount Dapple Unified School District out of Amonte Elementary School, ages 8 and 10. Not too long ago, I was gonna give a notice to you guys, come in, put you guys on notice. I believe I spoke with Mr. Adam Clark here, and it's because of the mask mandates. Well, you guys got rid of them, but you continue to push COVID, and it's COVID. Everything is COVID. You want to send these kids home if they have a runny nose, if they have an upset stomach, go get tested, send them home. It's COVID. There's no more flu season. There's no more allergy season. There's no more cold season. Everything is COVID, and it's a political agenda that I ask to keep out of the schools. It's not for our children to what it does is it's installing fear into them. It's pumping fear into them that every time they turn around, they believe they might have COVID. Not everything is COVID, and not everything should be looked at as COVID to send them home from school left off for 4 or 5 days because you guys are pushing a political agenda. Keep the politics out of the schools. That's all I ask. Thank you.
thank you. Jane Enlow,
Good evening, board. I'm Jane Bolshenlow. I teach at Sequoia Middle School. Been teaching there for over 21 years. I've been a parent in this district. My kids have both graduated. Now here's something odd. 2 different high schools never moved. That's a unique thing. So I've experienced a lot. I've done my special education with my daughter. So I know a lot, and I know how important libraries are in my middle school. And I've seen what's happened when we don't get libraries, and how hard it is for the kids to do some of their work. And talk about equity. Some of them don't have very good internet at home. They need the library open after school for a while so that they can actually do some homework, get some extra help from the librarian for research that maybe the homework teacher can't give. There are lots of things that that librarian does that is above and beyond what a teacher, an ELA teacher like myself, can do. And it's a really, we got lucky. We got Nancy Brenner that our PFC paid for 1 day a week. We don't get her anymore, but we got really, lucky. And I was very happy to have her, and we were really lucky to have her 1 day a week. That was it. But we got her 1 day a week. She did some stuff with me. It was really nice. I really appreciated her lessons on bibliographies and how to use citations. It's stuff that I can get to, but when it's taught from a new perspective, it's so much more valuable to the students. Please bring back the librarians, bring back the 4th grade music. If I could get on my knees and beg you to do it and make it work, I would do it. That's how important this is for our students, and our students deserve the best, and I will always advocate for that. So thank you for allowing me to speak tonight.
thank you. Laurel Burns,
Follow that. I had to write something. I can't talk off the top of my head as well as Jane. Good evening, school board members and Dr. Clark. My name is Laurel Burns, and I'm a teacher librarian. And I've watched with sadness as our secondary library program has gone from having a full-time librarian at each site down to part-time librarians and now down to nothing. School libraries are essential. Teacher librarians are credentialed teachers. We teach important skills and subjects in the library. One example is digital literacy. Instruction in this area ensures that students have the ability to differentiate between biased and unbiased information found on digital platforms. In addition, middle school and high school libraries provide a safe haven for many students throughout the day. The teacher librarian becomes a trusted confidant and mentor for many kids. A recent article states, quote, nationwide research suggests that reading, writing, and graduation rates improve where schools employ certified school librarians. Local school districts, such as yourself, must decide how to get the best return on their investments. Providing equitable and adequate school library services and instruction has become an issue of social justice, especially when we see that schools in the poorest and most racially diverse communities have the least access to library services. Hiring credentialed teacher librarians will give you the best return on your investment. And I ask you to please vote to invest in the students in Mount Diablo and bring back your secondary librarians. Thank you.
Thank you. Paula Mitchell.
Good evening. I actually didn't know people were coming to speak about the libraries tonight, but I've spoken to you all about it in the past and emailed you studies that had a lot of really great statistics about the importance of libraries and how the impact that they have on communities. One thing I would like to encourage you to do is perhaps join the Government Alliance on Racial Equity and start utilizing their GARE assessment that can help you understand where some of these cuts may disproportionately impact communities of color and why. And I think that it's really important to look at that before you make any changes like this. I know those are already done, but actually that's not why I'm here. I'm here to talk about this catering position that you guys approved last week. I'm concerned that we have $100,000 to pay a caterer and somebody to develop a food truck program, but we don't have enough money for a librarian. There's something really wrong with that. I'm looking at this not only as a parent, but also as a taxpayer. I don't pay my taxes so that my school district can have a side hustle. Where you guys approved this position without questioning, how much are these food trucks going to cost? Where is that money going to come from? Why is that department only spending 65% of its budget when I can tell you that the food choices that they have in the schools are not optimal? They need to be functioning at 100%. They need to have better satisfaction from the people that they're supposed to be serving, and that's students, before they start looking at other opportunities to expand this program that really is kind of failing the people that it's intended for. I just had to explain to my third grader why she's not going to get to play violin next year at school, which she's been looking forward to since kindergarten. But I can tell her that someday she might be able to order food from a food truck that the school district runs. That's kind of ridiculous. Even talking about grants or getting this money from the feds, that's still taxpayer money. And I don't think that that's really where people pay their taxes intend for them to go, is to a food truck business. Please reinvest that money. That's student-centered. That's what this district is here for, is for students. So please reconsider this. Please reconsider the librarians. I don't want my kids getting to high school not having access to a librarian. As somebody with a master's degree who was required to take a librarian studies class, that was not my major, but I was required to take the class because it's important. Those are absolutely imperative academic skills that students have before they get to college. So please, let's look at our priorities and question, are food trucks really where it's at? Or should we be going back to the drawing board and looking at some of these things that are a little more critical? Thank you.
Thank you. Kim Aponma.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Clark. I'm Kim Apana, and I will be reading tonight from a letter that was written by Angela Hunter, the only African-American teacher at Riverview Middle School for the past 5 years who was unable to come. She asked me to read her letter. It has come to the attention of the teachers and staff at Riverview Middle School. Mount Diablo School District has been significantly disproportionate in identifying African-American students with intellectual disabilities. We are aware that the CSACE program has been staffed to address the special needs of these African-American students, enrolled primarily in 6 schools. Unfortunately, it appears there was a lack of integrity in the hiring process, undermining the efficacy of the program before it even starts. We, the staff of Riverview Middle School, were made aware that while the focus for this project is underachieving African-American students, the original job posting did not make that distinction clear. As such, many African-American educators were unaware of an opportunity to apply for a position that would affect real change within the African-American educational community. We're also made aware that the position of operational program specialist was never interviewed for, and that one candidate who applied for one of 3 positions for which she was not selected was summarily offered a position for which she did not apply. At the same time, a qualified African-American candidate was not offered the same opportunity upon not being selected for the position for which he applied. How is that fair? How does this board justify hiring a white applicant for a position that deals solely with the African-American community without offering the same opportunity for an African-American applicant? Systemic racism at work. To make matters worse, in Mount Diablo's Unified School District Board meeting held March 23rd, the position was changed to include African American student achievement in the job title of each position and was approved by a 5-0 vote. However, on March 25th, 2 days later, the first round of interviews were held without reposting the job with the amended job title. Question: why is the Mount Diablo Unified School District so resistant to simply reopening the job listing, posting the position with an appropriate description that includes African American in the title, and providing opportunities for well-qualified African American educators to apply? The African American children we are attempting to reach may have gone their entire educational career without ever being taught by a person of color. Have you ever considered that these students, more than any others, deserve educators who look like them, who understand their cultural nuances on a personal level? Why is the management of Mount Diablo Unified School District so entrenched in its racially systemic practices that it would sacrifice the welfare of African American children? Admit you have made a mistake and correct it. Reopen this position, actively recruit African American administrators to fill these positions, and give your Black students a fair chance to be successful in the systemic racist school district. Angela Hunter, teacher, Riverview Middle School. Thank you. And by
Thank
the way,
you.
I would like to give you a copy of her letter because I didn't read it.
Yes, that's fine. Thank you. While she's doing that, Liz Herring.
Before I start, want to see my shirt. Library is open until May 30th. A few weeks ago, in the newly renovated Mount Diablo High School Library, also known as Cafe Biblio, something amazing happened. During lunch, it was full, just like it is every other Wednesday and Thursday. But this special day, I noticed something magical, something that I hadn't seen in a very long time. And it was about 50 to 60 kids who were not on their cell phones. And it was amazing. They were talking to each other. They were playing games. They were coloring. They were putting together puzzles, and they were engaged with one another. And it was one of those moments when you're a teacher that you look at and you think like, hey, I did something right. This is great. And it was such a moving moment for me. I, of course, took a picture and put it on my teacher's social media because I was very proud of that moment. And I double checked. I thought there has to be somebody on a phone here. There has to be. They're always on their phones, and they weren't. And for the first time in 18 months, I saw kids who put their shoulders down, who weren't crunched up, looking at their phones, feeling tense, feeling ill at ease. They were all smiling and laughing and talking to each other. And it was a moment that I will never forget. And the simple truth is, this is the magic of a functional library. We spend so much time talking about the damages of the pandemic and the effect on their social emotional skills and the increase of teenagers being diagnosed with mental health conditions. The district assigns surveys that honestly, they tell us nothing. They designate students as not meeting standards for their own social emotional status. We worry about their future and how we can help them socialize and how we can get them off their phones. But for those of you who were around in the 80s and 90s, I'm sorry, there is a very popular movie called Field of Dreams. And a famous quote is, if you build it, they will come. And the truth is, it's been built and they have come. And if we provide them with the space and the tools, they will flourish, and they are. A library is a place where all of these things can happen. Students can try something new without fear of failure. They can ask questions and ask for assistance from a teacher who has no influence over their grade. They can connect with peers who have the same interests. They can escape whatever is happening on campus and find their safe place in a beanbag chair in the corner or at a conference table with friends. And the truth is, they deserve these spaces, and more so, they need them. School libraries and teacher librarians are not optional. They're not budget constraints that you have to weigh the cost-benefit analysis of. Their benefit far exceeds their costs. They're not throwaway spaces that you can close for years and expect the status quo. In eliminating school librarians at the middle and high school level, you're robbing students of what they need and what they deserve. These are not supplementary positions. They're not redundant positions that can be done by others. A school librarian is a specialty position. Teacher librarians can help bridge the gap between a satisfactory school and an excellent one. They can improve literacy, technology skills, and provide reading material to many students who literally have no other access to reading material. They contribute to positive school culture and climate and have so many uses beyond checking out books. If you have any money left at the end of the year or within the budget for next year, I dare you to be bold. I dare you to assign a full-time librarian at every campus. I can only imagine the difference that I could make if I had 5 days a week at Mount Diablo High School. And I can only imagine the change that we could see in our students, in their success, in the way they answer those social emotional skills, quizzes and surveys. It's possible. And we have to find a way to give these kids what they deserve, because so often they're being told, oh, we don't have the money. We can't give you that. We can't give you that. We can't do that. We can. We should. We just have to find a way. And I'm willing to look at a budget. I hate numbers, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes because they deserve it. And I have loved this job for the last 6 months. It's been the best job of my entire life. And I want to keep doing it forever. So please, please, please fund the librarians.
Thank you.
Dan Reynolds. Madam President, the buzzer isn't working, so I'll call time.
Okay.
The 3 minutes is up.
Did you hear that, Mr. Reynolds? The buzzer's not working, so we'll just gently let you know.
All right, I can do gently. I can also, so does that mean that the timer isn't counting down either?
Well,
Tell
you'll
us
have
in a
to
minute.
tell us if it comes on when I push the button.
So if you press the button, it did not come on.
Okay, all right.
All right,
So
so 3 minutes is doable.
Okay.
Good evening, board. My name is Dan Reynolds. I am the executive director of the Mount Diablo Education Association. Also, I am a product of MDUSD schools, having attended Sun Terrace, Glenbrook, and then Mount Diablo High School. I spent 16 years as a teacher in the district, and I am currently the parent of 2 MDUSD students. In February, you made cuts to positions. Included in those were cuts to 4th grade music program, cutting secondary librarians, and closing the Diablo Day program. You should never have made those cuts. You didn't need to make them. You have the money to afford to keep those programs. Further, your first interim budget assumed a COLA, cost of living adjustment, increase in your ongoing funding for next year of 2.48%. Your revenue from the state would grow that much. When you made those cuts, in advance of your second interim budget, you were using a School Services of California projected COLA next year of 5.33%. You had gotten an assumption that you would have more ongoing money next year. The state has now announced that the COLA for next year will be 6.56%. Even using your current enrollment and ADA projections, this new COLA will mean more than $2.5 million more ongoing next year than you are currently budgeting for. And as I have shared with you before, in the final state budget, our state legislature historically does better for education than the projections that y'all use. Far better than what the governor proposes in January and better than what the governor proposes in his May revise. As a union representative, I know that the 4th grade music program, secondary librarians, and the Diablo Day program serve our students and serve to make our district a place families want to send their students. As a parent of current MDUSD students, I know the importance of these programs to my children and to other children throughout the district. As a graduate of our schools, I know the way that music programs influence the learning environment in our schools. I know the way that librarians support students and help them learn because they supported and helped me. Our students deserve fourth grade music. Our students deserve secondary librarians. Our students deserve the Diablo Day program. Undo these cuts. Restore fourth grade music. Restore secondary librarians. Restore the Diablo Day program. You could afford it when you cut it. You can afford it even more now, and our students deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Elia Thomas? If I mispronounced that, please correct me when you come up.
Hello. I was here last month over at the other building, and I was requesting, I wanted to go to my daughter's field trip, but I wasn't vaccinated. And in order to be a volunteer, you have to be vaccinated. Well, I'm not working right now, and I have all the time in the world to volunteer. But unfortunately, because of my own beliefs, as well as medical reasons, I've decided not to get vaccinated. And thanks to the God that I worship, the true and living God, I was touched by COVID, but I got over it. And by the same true and living God, my daughter had a quarantine with me and never got it. And she won't get it. And if she does, God forbid, the true and living God will do the same thing he did for me, he'll do for her. But that's not my point as to why I'm here. I'm here because my daughter's field trip went and passed. And guess what? I was turned down. The first time I was here, I showed you guys respect. Then I came here recently before the field trip, and I came to this office. And I had all the smoke, and I wanted all the smoke. And just in case you don't know what that means, and if you are an educator, you should know the lingo of African American people, children. It meant that I was ready because I had a negative result. I was cleared because of my background check, and I was cleared with my TB test. And I even went and got a negative test, which I didn't have to. Oh yeah, Mr. Superintendent, I was waiting for you to give me a call back. Your assistant took my information. I don't know what happened with that. Never got a call back. I guess I don't matter. So I want you to hear my daughter's response to when I had to tell her I couldn't go. So. Am I going? It's not about you going. It's just I talked to the school people, and they're not going to allow parents to go to volunteer unless they're vaccinated. Mom's not going to get vaccinated because sick before. I feel the same way. Are you having the same conversation with your children about discrimination? Are you having the same conversation with your children about how life isn't fair? No, I'm pretty sure you don't. Maybe some of you have, and I would expect a call back. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our public comment for this evening. Takes us to communications. District organizations at regular board meetings, a single spokesperson of each recognized district organization may make a brief presentation. Items are limited to those which are informational.
Don't say that black parents aren't here, that don't want to represent their children. Don't ever say that. Don't become sex, don't become social service, no sociology about how black parents don't want to think. But guess what? I'm not vaccinated.
I'm sorry, but you've had your 3 minutes, ma'am. Anita Johnson.
I want all this smoke. And guess what? You will live in God with you. Guess what?
Thank you. Anita,
Good evening. I am Anita Johnson, President of Mount Diablo Education Association. My pronouns are she and her. MEDIA is a united group of educators working together for the benefit of the students of the Mount Diablo Unified School District. MEDIA joins with parents in opposing cuts to the instrumental music program, the Diablo Day program, and the elimination of secondary libraries and other reductions that will reduce services to students. Fourth grade instrumental music is a program that engages students effectively during school and during their free time on their own. This time spent creating music is effective social emotional learning and should not be denied to these students. Secondary libraries demonstrate to our students and to our community that this district supports literacy, scholarship, and curiosity. What does it say to the students and to the community if a district closes all of its secondary libraries? And the decision to close Diablo Day is a decision to abdicate responsibility to educate these students and push that responsibility to a different entity. And it is not the right decision. With additional funds that is coming from the state, all of these programs can and should be restored. It's not about funding. It is about values and priorities. If you value and prioritize students, you will restore these programs. Thank you.
Thank you. That takes us to recognitions and resolutions. 10-1, review and potential approval of recognition of the Mount Diablo Unified School District 2023 Classified Employee of the Year finalist, Dr. Clark.
Yes, Madam President, we're excited to present this item here tonight. So every year we recognize our certificate employees and as well as our classified employees. And at the last meeting, we recognized our certificated employees. And tonight we have the honor and the privilege to recognize our classified employees. So just bear with me as I sort of open this up. The Mount Diablo Unified School District has selected two 2022 classified employees of the year. District lead buyer, Laura Warner, and special education assistant, Ashley Kinney. Both Laura and Ashley were selected based on nominations from district staff members for classified employees who have demonstrated excellence in work performance, school and community involvement, and leadership and commitment, and whose coworkers speak highly of their exemplary work. Nominations for both Laura and Ashley highlighted their warmth and enthusiasm, desire to give back to their communities, and willingness to go above and beyond expectations to support district students and staff. Laura works in the district's purchasing and warehouse department, where she coordinates with outside vendors to purchase items for schools and district offices. Ashley works at Concord High with special education students. Unfortunately, Ashley is not able to join us tonight because she is taking her children to their after-school sports games. So we will deliver her certificate to Concord High School. However, Laura is here tonight. Can we have Laura? Where is Laura? Can we give Laura a big round of applause? Laura, I'm going to embarrass you a little bit, okay? So I have just a few more words, but we want to give you your moment to shine. So Laura has worked in various positions in the district for more than 2 decades. She started her career in the district as an attendance secretary at Highlands Elementary, then worked her way up to office manager before moving on to district office positions. Along the way, she said she was mentored by many experienced administrators and office managers. So now she likes to help mentor newer district employees the way her predecessors helped her. She was nominated by Chief Business Officer Dr. Lisa Gonzalez, who oversees the purchasing and warehouse department where Laura now works. Dr. Gonzalez wrote in her nomination, in quotes, Laura Warner is known throughout Mount Diablo Unified as an administrative superstar. In her 23-year career in the district, she has worked at elementary and middle schools, staffed the operations, fiscal, and transportation departments, and has returned to purchasing, where supporting school sites and helping them make critical funding decisions to save money is her passion. Her work in multiple departments shows her vast knowledge of the district, making her an incredibly valuable asset to our teams. Laura said she has found that many new school office managers are unfamiliar with the Dent Center, so she likes to help explain how things work and share what she has learned over the years to point them in the right direction. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you our Classified Employee of the Year, Laura Warner.
Thank you, Dr. Clark, and members of the board. Thank you. I'd also like to thank Lisa for my nomination. I'm very honored to be here tonight.
Have just a couple words. You have anyone in the audience who you want to introduce?
I have my husband here, Ray.
Yes,
He can stand up.
yes.
And then a fellow employee and a great friend, Mary Greathouse, is here with her boyfriend Damien. So yes, I
great.
appreciate them being here also.
Well, thank you. I just want to
Thank
say
you.
that we really appreciate your commitment to your profession, to your duties, because every position in this district supports students, and that's what we are here to do. So
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that very
wanna thank
much.
you for that.
Yeah.
Can we trouble you for a picture with the board?
Oh, that would be lovely.
All
Thank you.
right, great. Have a certificate. And because Ashley Kinney is being a sports mom and carpooling kids and cheering in the stands, we have her principal who has so graciously come down this evening to accept the award on her behalf. Would you like to please come up and maybe say a few words about Miss Kinney?
Ashley joined our team this year and very quickly loved by the students and the teacher. And it's always, I mean, they visit my office at least once a week. So she's just amazing. It's great to have special education assistants who are just completely dedicated to the students in the program. So I'm excited they could be here, and I'll take it to her and embarrass her in class with everyone, which will be fun.
Thank you so much for accepting on her behalf. I know there are classified special education assistants are one of the most important roles that we have in our schools, and we're so appreciative, especially of those who are so dedicated to that job. Thank you.
10.2, review and potential approval of resolution 21/2270, classified school employees week. Dr. Clark.
Wow, how fitting that this would come up now.
Isn't it?
So in recognition of Classified Employees Week, which is May 15th to May 21st, 2022. Whereas classified school employees provide valuable services to the schools and students of the Mount Diablo Unified School District. And whereas classified employees contribute to the establishment and promotion of a positive instructional environment. And whereas classified school employees play a vital role in providing for the welfare and safety of Mount Diablo Unified School District students. And whereas classified school employees employed by the Mount Diablo Unified School District strive for excellence in all areas relative to the educational community. Now, therefore, the governing board of the Mount Diablo Unified School District hereby recognizes and wishes to honor the contribution of all classified school employees to quality education in the state of California and within the Mount Diablo Unified School District, and declares the week of May 15th through the 21st as Classified School Employees Week within the Mount Diablo Unified School District. Madam President, this item is now in the hands of the board.
Thank you. I actually think I'm going to call privilege and make the motion on this because I was a classified school employee for 22 years with Mount Diablo School District. And I would often say, I can't believe I get paid for doing this. I loved my job so much. So I will make the motion that we approve this resolution.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Anybody else want to say anything? If not, we'll get to vote. Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
That passes 4-1 with approval from our student trustee. Right. Next, 10.3, review and potential approval, resolution 21/2272, recognizing June as LGBTQ and Pride Month.
Thank you, Madam President. Whereas June is a time to celebrate our dynamic LGBTQ plus community, raise awareness of quality services, and foster a dialogue to promote healthy, safe, and prosperous school climates and communities for all. And whereas all children and youth should be able to attend school in a safe and inclusive environment, free from discrimination, and civil rights laws contribute to such environments. And whereas harassment and bullying policies that specifically mention sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression are associated with students feeling more safer, lower levels of bullying, decreased incidents of harassment related to sexual orientation, increased teacher-staff interventions, and a greater reporting of incidents. And now therefore, be it resolved that the Mount Diablo Unified School District recognizes the month of June 2022 as LGBTQ plus Pride Month to inspire equity, create alliances, celebrate diversity, and establish a safe environment in our schools and community. And be it further resolved that this resolution be distributed to every school in the district and that every school be encouraged to fly the Progress Pride flag along with the district. Madam President, this resolution is now in the hands of the board.
Thank you.
Madam President, I move to approve Resolution 2021-72, recognizing June as LGBTQ plus Pride Month.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Okay, looks like
I just am wondering if we could maybe make a small change to the fourth whereas, which reads, whereas the lack of awareness and understanding of issues facing LGBTQ plus children and youth has contributed to higher rates of school dropout, academic failure, and school disengagement. I'm wondering if push out is a more accurate term there instead of dropout, which puts a lot of responsibility on the student. And if we're talking about environments that aren't inclusive to students, I think push out is more accurate word there. So I would like to suggest that change if I may.
Madam President, I would like to amend my motion to include the edit suggested by Trustee McFerrin to change the word dropout to push out.
I will amend my second as well and change the word dropout to push out in the resolution.
looks like Dr. Clark got that written down.
Yeah.
So we're good. Okay. There's no other comments. We'll go ahead and take the vote. Trustee Fowler?
I had a quote I wanted to read and then just something else. So this is something I found. It says, I celebrate pride because so many people before me couldn't. I celebrate pride because it means being able to live authentically. I celebrate pride because I freaking love all the rainbow apparel that I get to throw on. I just thought that was nice. And then I also wanted to say Pride Month is about acceptance, equality, celebrating the work of LGBTQ plus people, and then educating about the LGBTQ plus history and raising awareness of issues affecting the community as well. So I'm really happy we're honoring this. And I know we just had our Pride Prom that went really well, and they're going to do it again next year. So I'm glad that this district, I know all the schools, they have a GSA too, and as well as middle schools are starting to implement that. So I think the LGBTQ community has a safe place here.
Yeah, thank you, trustee Fowler. That's really great to hear. And yes, I heard really great things about the Pride Prom as well. I just wanted to note the additions to our resolution this year do recognize the Progress Pride flag, which is a concerted move towards a more tolerant and intersectional community. And that the black and brown lines of the Progress Pride flag represent marginalized people of color within the queer community, while the pink, blue, and white arrow shape represents the transgender community. And I appreciate that also added to our resolution is encouraging every school to fly the Progress Pride flag. I just wanted to share one other thing is that we've been hearing so much, I think, from our students throughout the district on this issue that they would like to feel included and safe. And so one thing to just be able to pass around and share with you all, this was a Girl Scout 8th grade Silver Award project this year at Foothill Middle School. The students, 3 students in the Girl Scout Troop 33570 created what's called the Foothill Inclusivity Project, and they presented to staff a resource packet with national resources on how to make your classroom and your school a more inclusive and welcoming place to be. So I'll just share those with you as well. Thanks.
Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
That passes 401 with approval from our 10.4, review and potential approval of resolution 21/2274 to establish temporary interfund transfers. Not quite as exciting, but that's okay.
Yeah, and I won't be reading this resolution. We're just asking for, this is a regular process that we go through, and we're asking for approval.
Madam President, I move the board approve the resolution 21/22, number 74, to establish temporary interfund transfers.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
Passes 401 with approval from our student trustee. Next, 10.5, review of potential approval of resolution 21/2275, authorization to make year-end intra-budget transfers. Dr. Clark.
Yes, and this is an annual resolution which allows the superintendent or designee to complete any necessary year-end budget transfers to commit the payment of obligations the district has incurred during the 2021-22 school year.
Thank you.
Madam President, I would move that the board approve resolutions 21/2275, authorization to make year-end intra-budget transfers.
Second.
Motion and a second. Okay. Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
And that passes 401 with approval from our student trustee. Next, 10.6, review and potential approval of resolution 21/2278, adopting the interlocal purchasing system called TIPS, National Cooperative Purchasing Program, application for use in Mount Diablo Unified School District purchases. Dr. Clark.
And here, as a district, we are asking to become a member of the interlocal purchasing system, which is a national cooperative, until such time that the district or board decides to terminate the membership. This cooperative program acts as a procurement vehicle for various goods and services, and we are asking the board to consider approving this resolution.
Madam President, I move to approve Resolution 21/2278, authorizing the district's membership with the interlocal purchasing system TIPS.
Second.
Motion and a second. Trustee Fowler.
Yes.
And that passes 4-0 with approval from our student trustee. Okay, that takes us to more fun, public employee appointments. 11.1, review and potential approval of personnel appointment, vice principal at Oak Grove Middle School.
And Madam President, Mr. Sheehy is going to take on 11.1 through 11.5. We're very excited about these 5 individuals.
Yes, and Dr. Scudero and I are going to tag team these
All right.
tonight. So the Human Resources Department is bringing forward the board's review and potential approval, the appointment of Tiffany Jackson as the vice principal at Oak Grove Middle School. Tiffany's experience in education includes working as a secondary education history teacher for 21 years and teaching in adult education. Tiffany holds a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's degree in education. Tiffany is working to earn her doctorate in educational leadership and is expected to complete the program in the next year. When not working, Tiffany enjoys singing, music, and attending cultural events. With that, I leave this appointment in the hands of the board.
Thank you.
Madam President, I move that the board approve Tiffany Jackson as vice principal at Oak Grove Middle School.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Trustee Fowler.
Yes.
Thank you. Would you like to come up and say a few words? Yes.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to say thank you for this appointment, and I've been an educator, as stated, for 20 years in the Bay Area. This is my passion. I enjoy what I do, and I'm really excited for this new step in my journey in education. And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here with you you'd like to introduce? Anybody that you'd like to introduce? Is there anyone here with you you want to introduce?
Here, I would have invited my mother. She's a teacher, also retired teacher,
Okay.
but she's not here. So, but I'm just by myself.
All right.
Oh, she's here.
She's
She knows.
here. She wanted to be here, and my dad too. but-
Thank
Okay,
you. Welcome.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Good evening. The Human Resources Department is bringing for the board's review and potential approval the appointment of Elizabeth Bess Ngio as the vice principal at Ignacio Valley High School. Bess has been an educator for 25 years, with the majority of her career as a classroom teacher, but also includes time as a school counselor and a summer school principal. Bess has a bachelor's degree in diversified liberal arts and a master's degree in counseling. When not working in education, Bess is usually running, paddleboarding, or spending time with her family. Bess is excited to be joining MDUSD to support the students, families, and educators at YVHS. With that, I leave this appointment in the hands of the board.
Thank you.
I move to approve the appointment of Elizabeth Bess Nzio as the vice principal at Ignacio Valley High School.
Sorry. but we're gonna have to have someone else make the.
Oh,
you can second.
wow.
That's all right.
Just a second
I
for you.
tried,
Good
guys.
second. I know, we know.
She thought she graduated, it was
Yeah,
last meeting.
I know.
Go ahead, Heather.
Madam President, I'll move that the board approve the appointment of Elizabeth Bess NCO as vice principal at Ignacio Valley High School.
Second.
Oh.
Thank you, thank you. Second.
Second.
Okay,
Second.
trustee Fowler,
Yes.
the computer's just slow.
Words, welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for having me and thank you for the appointment. I'm really excited about this opportunity. Again, I've been an educator for 25 years and this has been quite the journey as a classroom teacher and as a school counselor. So I'm looking forward to working at Ignacio Valley and working on making sure all students are learning and belonging and with a focus on student wellness. So thank you so much. I'm excited to work with you all.
Welcome and congratulations.
My own kids are doing swim team tonight, so, but I do love them.
All right, great, welcome.
Thank you so much.
So,
Right, the Human Resources Department is bringing for the board's review and potential approval the appointment of Rebecca Schnee as the vice principal at Sequoia Middle School. Rebecca is dedicated to the educational growth of MDUSD students and is excited and ready for the demands of a position as the vice principal. Rebecca has had more than 13 years in education, teaching in grades K-5, and has held leadership roles at the school and district levels. Rebecca holds a bachelor's degree in human development and a master's degree in educational leadership. Rebecca spent many years growing up in this community. She and her husband Dave love watching their son and daughter learn and grow in MDUSD as well. Together as a family, they love road trips, camping, and exploring California's many beautiful destinations. With that, I leave this appointment in the hands of the board.
Madam President, I move to approve Rebecca Schnee as vice principal at Sequoia Middle School.
Second.
Motion in a second, trustee Fowler,
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Clark, and thank you, board members, for appointing me and approving me. I'm truly grateful to continue my work with students in this district. I was a student myself in this district and been a teacher in this district, so I'm really excited to continue that as a VP. I've had the privilege to work with a lot of teachers that were incredible over at Holbrook and Valhalla, and just want to thank my principal, Theodora Pappas, for helping me on this journey into administration. I also want to thank my family who's here to support me. I have my parents, I have my sister, my nephew, my son, my husband. My daughter would be here. She's at outdoor ed today, but some very excited family members as well. And I just hope that I do service to my mom, who also was an administrator for many years, and so hope I can live up to that leadership role. I'm excited to join Sequoia and work with Lisa and be a part of the team there. So thank you so much.
welcome.
congratulations.
So the Human Resources Department is bringing for the board's review and potential approval the appointment of Rachel Decker as the vice principal at Valley View Middle School. Rachel has been in education for 13 years as an English, peer tutoring, and journalism teacher and advisor, serving 3 district school communities in San Diego, East Palo Alto, and San Ramon. Rachel holds a bachelor's degree in English and master's degree in educational leadership. Rachel's looking forward to serving as a middle school vice principal in the same district where she attended middle school. With that, I leave this appointment in the hands of the board.
Madam President, I move the board approve Rachel Angel Decker as vice principal at Valley View Middle School.
Second. We have motion and a second. Trustee Fowler,
Yes.
Good evening. Thank you so much for this opportunity. This is my first administrator position, so I appreciate you giving me a shot. Like you mentioned, I went to Sequoia Middle School, so it seems fitting that this would be my first role there. So I love kids. I've known since I was 8 years old that I wanted to be an educator. And so this is very special for me, and I thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you.
The Human Resources Department is bringing for the board's review and potential approval the appointment of Danielle Bouchard as the vice principal at Diablo View Middle School. Danielle has been working as an English teacher for 7 years, a department chair for 3, and has worked in middle schools for a decade. Danielle holds a bachelor's degree in English and a master's degree in school leadership. Danielle loves reading, backpacking, skiing, and working out at Orange Theory and working with middle school students. She is looking forward to getting to know a new community of educators and learners. With that, I leave this appointment in the hands of the board.
thank you.
Madam President, I move to approve Danielle Bouchard as vice principal at Diablo View Middle School.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Trustee Fowler,
Yes.
I'm so thankful to be here and to have this opportunity. I've worked in 3 different schools throughout my career as an educator, and each time I've joined a new school community, it's been such an opportunity for personal growth and learning, and I'm just so excited to do that at Diablo View Middle School next year.
thank you.
Welcome.
Takes us to reports and information. 12.1, report on the 2022-23 annual update to the district strategic technology plan. Dr. Clark.
Yes, we have our technology team that is going to be presenting this item. They're just going to give a brief update on where we are. So we have the team here. I'll let them introduce themselves. You're good. Whatever you're comfortable with.
I was comfortable with this. So
Okay.
I thought everybody else wouldn't be, so.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. We need to, are we on?
Good. Go
Okay,
ahead. Go ahead.
sorry. All right. Good evening, everybody. We are pleased to be here. Robert Sidford, Director of Technology and Innovation, and Craig Box, your title is Education Program Specialist for Educational Technology. Thank you for correcting me there. We're here to, we're very pleased to be here to present to you the most recent update to the Strategic Technology Plan, and we'll guide you through that process that we went through to get that, and we've provided you with that new update in the board materials, and we're here to actually seek any feedback and input you have to that before we come back to you in August with the finalized draft plan for your approval. So let's see, where's the, sorry, the new boardroom is kind of getting me all kind of out of sync here.
The technology of it?
I know, right? Yeah. They're coming, I promise. Supply chain issues, pretty bad. All right, so we have committed to providing you an update in August, December, and actually April, but in this case, May of this year on the Strategic Technology Plan, and we've done that so far twice this year. This meeting is probably less about updates on the existing plan and more about updates to our new revisions. I do want to just kind of go back to the 3 imperatives for this. We work with the committee to the Strategic Technology planning task force, and they had no updates to these three imperatives. They felt these were still relevant to our current situation. And so these really focus on empowering teachers, empowering students, and also making sure that we can support the technologies that we have and deploy in our district. I am going to turn it over to Mr. Box to run you through some highlights from this year.
All right, thanks so much. So last time I came, I think this number was 16,000. So we're pleased to announce that in the spring semester, we were able to deploy and distribute an additional 9,000 devices to the elementary students. So this is super exciting. Obviously, in 1 year's time, the vast majority of our students, grades 2 through 12, now have a personal device. Highlighted from this year, we just put the action steps that are indicated from the strategic technology plan next to some of the highlights, but 2.1.1 and 2.1 was one of the highlights. We distributed the devices not only to students, but also are in the process of rolling out a refresh on teacher laptops, much needed, and with site input and principals providing the prioritization on that rollout. A couple of those other highlights that are most exciting rolling into next year. One is just a digital citizenship curriculum for TK through 12 that'll become part of the students' experience next year during the school year. We developed an entire TK through 12 technology scope and sequence, as well as grade level documents that outline skills that we want every student in each grade to experience and acquire and master with regards to technology. So again, rolling into next year, students have the devices, and instructors and teachers in the classroom now will be focused on the framework of what each student needs to know at each grade level. And then, as Robert mentioned, the strategic technology plan, which is a 10-year document, did go through an update and a review with inclusive stakeholder input. A couple of other highlights, and again, the action steps that they align to in the tech plan are indicated there, but we do have a work order system that's been deployed across the district. So all staff at any school site now, when there's an issue with a student Chromebook or any other technology, they are reporting that to a centralized system to allow the work order system and the ticketing system to be addressed on an as-need basis. We have a process and an approved set of digital tools that will consolidate and streamline the technology and the software and the tools that we use in our district, so that it's not dispersed, and it's not a laundry list of any and everything that a student and or a teacher might use, but it's reviewed and approved by a committee. And then last, we do have a centralized asset management system that we have been using to track all of these devices. It's very similar to the textbooks that we track in Destiny. So those are a couple of the highlights from this school year. And I'll turn it back over to Robert just to focus a little more on the tech plan update itself.
Thanks, Craig. Appreciate that. And I would actually like to really acknowledge Craig's work in working through a lot of our educational technology needs. Really, he took on a big project management role in rolling out our one-to-one program. And he's obviously spent a lot of time with the Strategic Technology Task Force, so we really appreciate his work with that. We also greatly appreciate the work of the task force themselves, and you can see that we're recognizing those folks here today. We really appreciate their input. These are district stakeholders, representative of our stakeholders in the district, who really spent a good amount of time really thinking through all of the existing plan, what was working, what we needed to make some adjustments to. And I think we've got a really improved sort of forward-facing document. I think the document from last year was a lot of acknowledgements of our challenges. And I think this year we've really focused on, okay, where do we go from here? We're building this foundation. What can we do from here? So I think that's a really positive step. So you can see there the task force committee members, thank you to them. And really their focus was on the progress that was made towards the plan and then really launching into what were the things that really needed to be adjusted. So this is not intended to be read, by the way. We're not hoping that you can read that. This is just an indication of the documents that we used, collaborative documents to work with the team, with the task force to help them provide appropriate feedback. We then took their ideas, took their input, and drafted the new document from there. Finally, I just wanted to sort of give a very brief summary. Obviously, we're not going to dive into the document itself. We're interested in your feedback on that, either in this meeting or in writing. Subsequent to this, we'd love to have that to incorporate in. But I just wanted to touch really briefly on like 3 areas of focus that the task force really identified. And those are maintaining a really systemic approach to professional learning. We now have really solved a lot of our access issues for technology for students. Every student has a Chromebook available to them. And we really need to focus in on professional learning. And I'm proud to say that Craig, along with Megan and Susan in the curriculum department, have really been starting to work on thinking through that process and really starting to think, what does professional learning look like for technology in alignment with all the other things that we're doing with the curriculum and education services side of the house. There's also a need to focus on, and Craig mentioned this already, but the digital citizenship initiatives, grade level learning goals with technology, and the device management in the classroom. And finally, making sure that we can sustain these efforts. That's a real focus that you'll see in the new plan as well. With that, this is the document. It is attached to the board documents. We're happy to have any feedback that you have. This is obviously a document for our kids, for our teachers, and for learning. And we would be happy to entertain any questions or comments.
Okay, I'll go first. I really, I really like how we're implementing this in the elementary schools. I know we had a brief discussion about that at the beginning of the year. We were like, oh, we're gonna do it, we're not gonna do it. But I think it's really great because now I'm thinking back, and that's when I learned how to type. And typing is basically the new writing with technology nowadays. We all know that. And so we'd always have to go to the computer lab, and it would be every 2 or 3 weeks because classes had to alternate, right? But since everyone has their Chromebook now, they can all individually do it and can do it at home as well if they don't have a Chromebook or a computer at home. So I think that's really great. And then I just had a quick comment, a little bit of constructive criticism from a student as well who goes to Mount Diablo High. I'm gonna try to summarize it because it's a bit long, so just bear with me a little bit. The internet and the technology in our school at Mount Diablo aren't compatible with educating or learning. The lack of state-of-the-art and even modern technology in our school has first-handedly affected students. One of my experiences has included the following situation. In my engineering class, we were about to start our coding unit. We found out that we cannot code on our Chromebooks, so we had to turn to desktops in our classroom. As we were about to begin, not one of the HP laptops were able to support the software for our program. Even at that, most of the computers wouldn't even turn on, which resulted in the teacher delaying their lesson and pushing back projects and whatnot. However, they were able to get in and understand the material and write in JavaScript. I'm not sure what that is. This is
Computer programming language.
Okay. I'm not a really good
That
tech
cannot be
person.
done on a Chromebook.
Yeah, it cannot be done on a Chromebook. Although our teacher was able to teach us at the beginning of the unit, we lost a lot of time and valuable knowledge, and it was very rushed. This creates an equity issue. It is important to provide all students the proper materials for learning and success, regardless of their social, economic, or racial background. And then we need to provide additional support for Title I schools as well. So I'm not sure if that falls under a technology issue, not an issue, but the technology plan with this because it's Chromebooks, so that's completely different. So I'm definitely gonna inform them on that, but I just wanted to let you guys know because I remembered you were talking about more laptops for teachers as well. So
That's correct, yes.
I just wanted to mention that, but I think this is a really great plan. And I'm really, really happy we implemented it this year, especially coming off of Zoom and everything. So I think it's great.
Thank you. Thank you, trustee Feller. And that does bring up a good question to me as well as, the additional technology that's needed, particularly in high school or middle school for specific, engineering, coding, some of our photography and graphic design where you need a particular thing that may or may not run on a Chromebook. How are we as a district thinking about those needs and the equity of how they're provided across our district? That's, I think, a really good question, and to figure out who's responsible for that and how we implement it going forward. So that could potentially be a future plan. Along those lines too, I am interested in the, you mentioned the scope and sequence and data privacy and security standards and submission of new tools. I'm wondering for those, where do people find those? Are they on the website somewhere where the public can see, or if there's a particular program or app that a teacher is looking into using, would they have that company submit? Is that what you mean by submission of new tools? They would submit it to you somehow?
Yeah, there's both a submission process that goes through a review and approval by committee. And then the list itself is also publicly available on the website.
Okay, so just going to the IT page of mdusd.org, and then there is a place there to submit. Okay.
That's correct. And on the data security side of things as well, as you asked about that, that's obviously we don't publish a lot of information about security practices internally for obvious reasons. Don't want to give people a map to do anything to you.
Right.
But so those are obviously not publicly available. But we are implementing a lot of stuff around data security. So our contracting process, we're implementing additional requirements on our vendors to make sure that they're appropriately securing our data, and specifically student data, and making sure that they're accountable to that.
That's fantastic for privacy and other things. Yeah. So if a vendor is interested, they would be able to see what the requirements are.
What we actually do is when we typically seek vendors, we don't necessarily invite vendors to just come and say, hey, do you want to work with us? We want to work with our vendors, right? So we want to choose them very carefully based on our needs, not their needs. So when we do identify vendors that we choose to work with, we vet them through a number of processes, including data security and information security, make sure that we actually have a multiple page form for data security that I think we can share the form. That's just fine publicly, but that's we go through that process with every vendor.
Great. Yeah, I'm just thinking sometimes the idea of a particular vendor may come from a teacher or parent or something like that. So where to direct people? It sounds like it's a location to direct them to on the website. So
yeah, and our purchasing department actually maintains a process by which vendors can submit that they would like to work with the district. So we rely on that from the technology side as well.
Great. And then lastly, it was great to be able to see the elementary school rolling out. The questions that I did hear out there in the community that you might want to address is going to the one-to-one. Is every student expected to carry that Chromebook back and forth every day at every school site, or is there some flexibility there, like for a second grader, to potentially not take it home if it's not necessary to have it at home?
I think that's feedback that we've heard and questions about that we've attempted to address. So the idea is that the device belongs to the student, and we do recognize that over time, especially from a second, third, fourth grade, time in a student's life, they may not need or want to transport it every single day like that. So they're encouraged to take it home. We want it to be a part of the student and family's decision to access the learning tool that they have available to them. Some of the second and or third grade classes still have carts, so that if a student is not going to be taking it home, then there's a place where it can be stored. But again, the conceptual thing that we're going for, the goal is that it's accessible to the student when she or he wants to use it to further their learning. So
Yes.
there's an opportunity that doesn't go home, but it's still encouraged.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
I have a question that's not particularly about the plan, but I appreciate the digital citizenship curriculum that's going to be rolled out next year, but also in the back of my mind, I'm thinking technology changes so quickly. How often do you have plans on how frequently you will address this curriculum and update it as needs change?
I would say it's part of the annual update and review that we go through for the technology plan. And this curriculum is from Common Sense Media, which is fairly reputable and well-known organization. So again, their updates, I think, would be reflected and follow any trends and updates in technology and digital citizenship.
Thank you.
So is the scope and sequence different from the digital citizenship piece? Is scope and sequence just students learning how to use a computer or also to how to program?
It's more on the how to use the computer, although it's broken down into different elements, whether it's keyboarding or basic operations, spreadsheet. So different grade levels, they're learning different skills.
So my feedback for the future is that I think we really are moving into a world where actually learning to program is something that, just about everybody is going to need to know how to do, just like learning another language, right? A computer language. And so the example that I think I've given to you before is the San Francisco Unified has csinsf.org. And it's completely free for other school districts to use as well. And they have it by each grade level. And so at the early grade levels, you're learning logic and sequencing. And then by middle school and high school, you're able to program in languages such as Java, which cannot be done in a Chromebook. But I think those are essential skills that I would love to see us really moving into the future. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the update.
Thank you.
Next, 12.2, staff presentation on revised secondary supplemental reading.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to take my mask off. Board of Trustees, Dr. Clark, it's great to see you all. Tonight, I bring before you for review and potential approval the supplementary reading materials list, and want to kind of illuminate a little bit of the process that we went through and also shine a little light on what the process will be to support continued revisions and continued cycles and systems to support a continued effect on the list. So next slide, please. Oh, and I'm Susan Hartwig, curriculum specialist. You've seen me before. So just to go over quickly the rationale for the work that we've been doing. First and foremost, we connect it to what our key values are in this district, which are equity, unity, and opportunity. The number one thing we did bringing this list forward for review and revision was to apply a sharp equity lens to the novels that we're using to teach our students. So that sharpened equity lens was our North Star as we did the work. And we want to align also with our courses of study, which are newly approved. So thank you for that. And get on a continuous cycle of review. So we're not having any typewritten lists out there in the ether. We want to make sure that we are really continuing to look at these lists and update them. Also provide a very collaborative process. So we did that as well. So next slide, please. Wanted to give you a little look at the meeting schedule. We had 4 total meetings and we had various outcomes and kind of pushed on through a progression as we started to really build the list and started to compile ideas about how we can really push our equity lens to the limit, right? So the next thing, next slide, please.
I think you have a clicker there.
Oh, I do. I do have a clicker. Thank you.
Technology.
I know, wonderful. So the process. We went through a process of basically what you see in that first box is combining the information from all the best information we had, the lists, and really making sure that we were combining and coalescing all of the information that we have available. The next thing we did was we brought in our committee, and we advertised through the Friday letter to get community members, and we wound up with a really wide range of participants in the committee, which is some of you are sitting here in this room, was on the team as well, and a number of other people that were steadfast members of this really important work. And we went ahead and also took that time to collaborate with department chairs, and even more importantly, we were able to meet with the student advisory committee led by Trustee Fowler. So, we're all doing this for the students. And so to really get a chance to talk to students and find out, what it is that reading means to them, and core novels and supplemental reading lists, these things are very important to students. And so that was a very valuable experience.
that are kind of beyond their own experiences. And so I think this is going to be a really important piece of providing that to our students.
Thank you. Yeah, and we're just getting started. We really are. Continuous cycle of revisions.
I just thought of one more question on the category, well, I don't know if it's 2 or 3. Between categories 2 and 3, it says, you know, diverse authors and experiences, and category 2 talks about female authors and female perspectives. Is there somewhere between these categories some consideration of non-binary or other diverse gender representation in addition to diverse racial?
That's an excellent question. And we did consider naming that, but wanted to be careful of doing any kind of othering. And so we were careful with the word diverse to make sure that diverse perspectives are included in there. And throughout the course of the next year, I would love to revisit those pieces as teachers experience, as students experience these categories. So as I said, I do want to keep this as almost like a living document in many ways. And so I do appreciate that. And we did think a lot about that. I think what probably won't remember that there was some talk about that in the committee. So it's a very good point.
Right, there's so many different types of diversity. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And one of the
books
books that that actually is included in the list, just one of them, the 57 bus, maybe you've heard of it, is listed on there, and it's listed beautifully in both category 2 and category 3. So thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, appreciate everyone. Trustee Fowler as well. Okay.
12.3, review and submittal of long-term debt-related disclosures and reports. More information.
We have our internal auditor who's going to present this item. I know we've spoken before, but go right ahead. Hi, how are you?
Pretty good, I'm John.
Good.
So these reports are just for informational purposes. They have never been presented to the board. After the 2021 audit, these reports are required to be submitted online for all interested parties to have access to. So they just show our long-term debt over the years that we've issued. So anyone can go on those websites and have access to those reports. Any questions?
So what part of the website will these be posted on?
Currently, these are not on the district website, but they are on the emma.org.
Okay.
So anyone can go there and look up the district and find any debt issue that the district had over since the beginning of time.
My time. Well, and of course, they are on the docket too. So if the public wanted to search for the information, they can find it in the book.
But I think the intention is after this meeting to have it available on the district website as well, so anyone can have access to it.
I appreciate the transparency and bringing this forward. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that takes us to board member reports. Start with trustee Dow.
So the state seal of student engagement was due a couple weeks ago, so I just wanted to congratulate all the students who are in the state seal of student engagement. I believe there was quite a few. And I also wanted to thank Ms. Jeannie Johnson for like advocating for it and just getting the message out and communicating with me so we can let as many students as possible know about it. And I also want to comment about the masks. More people are starting to take their masks off, which is really great. To see smiles on people's faces. And I know there's been some spikes of COVID cases in a few school sites and as well as districts. So encouraging students to wear their masks if they're uncomfortable, if they just feel unsafe, it's totally okay. And then finally, as my term is coming to an end, I just wanted to thank everyone for giving me this amazing opportunity at such a young age. I learned so much. I learned how to take punches, from like verbal punches, how to compose myself, how to advocate for honest voices, and how to make systematic change. It's just been such a great experience. And this position has really paved the path for my future. Now I'm just like,
Do I really want to be a politician? I don't know. So, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to really make some change in this district and to help uplift students and work alongside great student leaders. It's just been so amazing, and I can't wait for the next student board member to keep paving the path to equity in this district. She's going to be really great, and I'm really excited for her. So thank you all so much. And I got you guys little roses. Thank you all.
Of course, she'll come back and visit. Trustee Cowan.
You're gonna make me follow that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right, I'll do my best. Oh my gosh. So there are so many fantastic events. We try to be everywhere. But a few that I went to were the Adult Education Allied Health Fair, which I just thought such a great example of the connections that we make across our district, where high school students can see what we have to offer in our adult education pathways and how they connect with the things like the health academies that we have in our high schools, for example, and so many great opportunities out there for people. Really enjoyed celebrating our winners at the AXA Awards, Dr. Clark and Dr. Lisa Gonzalez. It was really exciting to be, in our region with people from all different school districts and get to really celebrate some of the excellent school districts. So big congratulations there. I held a little coffee meetup at Contra Costa Coffee in my trustee area, and just thought I would try that out. And it ended up being really excellent to be able to engage in discussions face to face with people, as opposed to a lot of the dialogue that ends up going on social media or other places where there's so much, I feel like, misinformation and misunderstanding that happens. When you come together face to face, you can really delve much deeper into some really tough issues. I think we covered, people came and went throughout a period of time, but we covered topics like, safety on our campuses, and advocacy for education funding, both at the local level, the ways that people can get involved with our local nonprofit education foundation, as well as advocating how can we advocate together at the statewide level. And one of the people who came to the coffee was from the League of Women Voters and talked about how she wants to really be partnering with us on that statewide education funding advocacy. So it was exciting. I think I'm going to do another one this Friday, actually, again, at Contra Costa Coffee at 8:30 in the morning. So people in my trustee area, feel free to swing by. And then let's see. The week of May 2nd, I was also just involved as a parent, because that's, Teacher Staff Appreciation Week. And we've got to get out there and appreciate all of our teachers and staff. Really enjoyed getting involved with School Lunch Hero Day, and really appreciating on last Friday our school lunch heroes at all of our sites, and making sure that they feel recognized, because sometimes they don't hear that from us. So I thought that was really important and special. I got to stop by Olympic High for the mural activity that's going on there, that's funded by the Mount Diablo Education Foundation. The artist Jesse Hernandez, check out his work on Instagram at Urban Aztec. It's really incredible, and he was engaging with students where they together were planning the design and the themes that they want to have come through the values of their school in this mural that's going to be happening next week, next Tuesday. So very exciting. And then got to stop by the Valley Verde performance. This was their first assembly since COVID. Oh my gosh, it really brought tears to my eyes to hear the kids singing together with this amazing group that, that engaged in, it was music, it was singing, but it was also percussion and making the sounds of instruments with your body where you don't need any paid for anything, what the kinds of things that you could do. And so it's really great to see the kids come together. And then last Saturday was the Bocce Foundation event, first ever bocce tournament, I think first annual because it was so successful. Kei Shinzewi was on my team. We did not win. We didn't come anywhere near winning. That's okay. We had a lot of fun. The event raised, I think, was it $22,000? I know Trustee Mayo was a big part of the organizing. So look forward to that next year. It's a really, really fun event benefiting our schools. And then lastly, today, I got to go out to the Habitat for Humanity build with the Mount Diablo High students. That's the Esperanza place here in Walnut Creek. And so great to see these students out there building and to build with them. I love power tools and I'm used to work in affordable housing. So I was really excited to get out there and get to work. And I learned that I'm not strong enough to do the manual cutting of rebar. Some of our students are, they think it look easy. And then I tried to do it, really impossible. So I went back to those power tools. Really great. And Habitat is hosting students from Concord High, I think, tomorrow. So just really great to talk to students about their future and what they're planning. Some of the seniors out there today were talking about how they're going to go to CSU East Bay in construction management and are looking at apprenticeship programs with the carpenters. So they are making those connections with the really high quality jobs that are out there for them. So really excited about the possibilities for our students. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Trustee Mayo?
So yes, thank you. May 3rd, we attended the CAC meeting and I'll let Trustee McFerrin talk about that. I apologize. I'm thinking about too many things at once. I wanted to share in specifics the successful SELPA Advocacy Day that our Community Advisory Committee participated in. The Community Advisory Committee is our special education parents in the Mount Diablo Unified School District. These parents met 3, maybe 4 times to discuss bills that were being considered in Sacramento for legislators and various issues and also funding matters for the general student population as well. Participants at the Ledge Day on May 4th included Dorothy Weisenberger, Lisa Buckman, Jimmy Payne, Rachel Levy, and Heather Martin, Natalie Bakovich. And I was kind of just arm candy in the corner because they did all the hard work and were the spokespeople with the legislators, which included Senator Glazier, Senator Skinner, and then Assembly Member Rebecca Bauer-Payne. They spoke specifically about SB 1113, AB 2373, AB 2427, AB 2475, and SB 237. And they spoke very eloquently and shared a personal story of why each of these bills was important to them as parents, as well as other special ed parents in our school district. And the PowerPoint around that provides their talking point posted on the CAC portion of the district's website, as I understand. So I hope you'll take some time to look at that, even though many of these 4 bills may be held up at this particular point in time. We know that the issues will be ongoing and we need to have messaging out there. And we're always hoping for that golden opportunity to bring full closure to these issues around special education. It was great to attend the bocce tournament on Saturday. There were many folks who were involved in the committee that did lots and lots of work to raise those funds. It was also great to see the turnout of the community And there were parents, there were community members, there were even former students, of course, of Mount Diablo School District. But also I wanted to call out Dee Totten, who is a former retired principal from Bel Air, and she worked at other schools in Mount Diablo School District as well. And she was one of the main representing Habitat. So it was great to connect with her and give her a great big hug. So the day was amazing. Folks started at 7:45 in the morning. I think we left here at 6:30. You know, because you have to wrap up and clean up and whatever else, putting, tearing down pop-ups, and emptying ice coolers, watering the lawn with the ice, that sort of thing. But it was a day of enjoying the community, being out of doors, talking with other people. It was slow paced, and people just enjoyed the day. So I hope that we have the opportunity not only just for the Education Foundation, but also in every one of our schools to have these sort of community events which bring us together around the common cause, which is public education.
Thank you. Trustee McFerrin. Good evening. I, with Trustee Mayo, attended the CAC meeting last Tuesday, which was the last of the year, so it's kind of a celebration of sorts, which was nice. Last Wednesday, I attended my final Grading for Equity workshop this year, it was a year-long training that included a 2-day kickoff with Joe Feldman, who's written the book about grading for equity and his ideas. And then we had several after-school workshops that were built around our action research and the practices that we were implementing into our classes. I focused predominantly on accepting late work through the end of a unit for up to full credit, and just other people implemented other practices, and I was unsure. I thought, maybe students would kind of overestimate their ability for turning in a bunch of work at once, and I really did not see many changes in the grade book at all, except for that students who were turning in late work earlier in the school year were turning in more work. So that was really exciting and encouraging. It was also very helpful hearing a student perspective from Trustee Fowler on that. Commented about your math teacher really doing implementing this practice and focusing on how students learn instead of when they learn, which was great to hear. I am looking forward to doing some site visits on Friday. I'm taking a personal day, mostly so that I can go visit Mount Diablo High School. At Mount Diablo High School, they will be holding a multicultural assembly. It's the first they've done in the last time they did it, I was still working there. So it's been a couple of years. The multicultural assembly is really an incredible showcase of student talent. Student clubs have been working for months, I'm sure tirelessly, on different dances and performances. And so I'm really looking forward to attending that event. If anyone else, has the opportunity to do so, I really recommend going. It's also really wonderful to see the students get really fired up. Like, they really love seeing these performances. And it's such an excellent opportunity for people to be able to express, the parts of their identity that are important to them. I also, I do know how to really make very good use of my time when I take a day off. So I am going to be visiting other school sites as well. I will be swinging by Valley View. I might be able to swing by College Park. I will have to check with Mr. Honey because I have not done so. I also want to take an opportunity to thank Trustee Fowler. I really think you have such a strong moral compass, and you've been such an advocate for student voice. And you really do such a lovely job of garnering feedback and including as many voices as possible. And you really, I think you do such a great job of providing compliments and also constructive criticism. And it's just been, I think, very helpful to
move us forward. So thank you for your service. and I'm excited to see what you do next. That's all I have to say.
I will be brief. I too went to the Allied Health event. It was a great event. It was a great opportunity for any of our kids that are looking at going into that field. The vet was the most popular stop I noticed when I was there, but they want to do EMT, surgery, whatever they want, dental. They had all the different people there that they could visit and look at the opportunities out there. I was joined by Trustee Count and Trustee Mayo to go to Mount Diablo High School to congratulate our Teacher of the Year, which was a nice event. And the TV was there, TV cameras were there, so we made sure we stayed in the background. I also attended the wellness meeting, which is a very constructive meeting. They'll be having a report come to us from something we've been working on there. Dr. Clark and I had the pure pleasure of attending the military ball, which was, I didn't even know Mount Diablo had them till this year. And it was extra special for me because of the lead lieutenant. I can't remember I'm not a military person, but her title, she had actually started out with me when she was just out of 8th grade, one of my Teen Garden Corps members, and came back to paint some murals in the community. So it was very, very gratifying for me to see Jocelyn there, and very proud of her and to reconnect with her. And then Monday night, we went to the art show at Sun Valley and saw the art from all of the high schools, which was very exciting. And it's really good to see a lot of positive things happening here at Mount Diablo now that we are becoming free to be out and about. And I do want to thank Trustee Feller very much. I think I can speak for the rest of the board when I say you are the reason we are here, the students. And to have you here to sometimes check us and sometimes agree with us has been invaluable. And I know you will be successful wherever you go, whatever you do. But when you're in town, pop in and say hi. There will be breaks. So with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Clark for his.
Yeah, in my report, when I made the adjustment, I really wanted the Schneider Electric presentation and the safety plan presentation to go before my report. So if I could call up Dr. Gonzalez and the team from Schneider Electric to go ahead and do this presentation.
Is that one of the changes I was supposed to know?
No, that's all right. You did. We're good. Yeah.
So if we could have the presentation pulled up, please. This is item number 18.1, and what we're doing this evening is this is a construction amendment and an update to all of you for the LED lighting plan. So what I've got, the gentlemen I've got behind me, Mark Starkey and Elliot Feldman, are going to quickly go through the presentation. We'll be able to answer any of your questions.
Good evening. Thank you very much for the.
You have a clicker up there.
Oh, perfect. All right. Good evening. Thank you again for the opportunity to present to you. As Lisa mentioned, my name is Elliot Feldman, Mark Starkey. We're very excited to be back in front of you. Really here to present on the first phase of our project within this broader energy and facility program, and that's around the LED lighting retrofits as well as an energy management solution. So just real quickly, what we'll talk about tonight, we're gonna give you a little bit of a recap from our last presentation, the RFQ that we went through and the program that we're working on. We'll talk about the status of the project tracks. As you might remember, there's 3 ongoing projects that we're currently working on. And then I'm gonna go into some detail about the actual lighting effort itself, go into the audit results. We'll walk you through the design collaboration that we and the district took part in to arrive at this turnkey project. Mark's going to take it from there and kind of provide more details on what the recommendation is, all the great benefits that come with that, as well as a project timeline. Great, so here's an overview of the 3 project tracks. And just a reminder, we're starting first with the LED lighting and the energy management solution. We're actively working on an HVAC and control solution. And then the third track is similar to what I mentioned in the second part, except for it's everything that would have to go through DSA. So the reason we prioritize the LED lighting is we like to think of LED lighting as a low-hanging fruit for an energy efficiency project. And really what that means is it has the quickest lead times, doesn't require a DSA review, and it's the best opportunity to see general fund savings right away by replacing the LED lighting. So that's why we've prioritized that. Our team really did a great job working efficiently, and the district administration, really deserves a lot of credit too for helping us get through this pretty large effort quickly and collaborate very efficiently. So when I say large effort, we really felt like we needed to communicate what that was. You know this, and we had a good insight to it, but really we were just amazed at the scale of your district and this lighting project that we're working on. So just some data points that really jumped out to us: 40,000 interior fixtures. What is it? Over 6,000 exterior fixtures, 7,000 unique spaces. I mean, you have a large district. We definitely know it now. We joke that our auditors probably should have had like a Fitbit tracker to just see how many steps that they were taking. But credit to them for covering every inch of your district. We also took light readings, and really, if you took a look at our contract, which you have in the board packet, you're going to see every one of those audit results where we documented the existing conditions with the new solution. And all jokes aside, the reason we do that is as part of our turnkey design build solution. We are the designer and the contractor, so we can't have any finger pointing, because if we miss something, it's on us. So that's why we really take our time to make sure we're getting every space audited correctly. Wanted to throw in a couple photos examples of what we saw. Just for context, this is really normal with a district a little bit older like yours, who hasn't gone through a lighting retrofit project. So just kind of working our ways around, we saw tons of fluorescent lights, T8s, T12s. We saw some yellow older lenses that are impacting the light quality of the classrooms. So that's part of our considerations for the design. The bottom left corner is a good photo. That's an exterior photo, or exterior light, that was on during the day, and probably due to a broken photocell or a sensor. So those are all the conditions that we tried to grab, as well as gym lighting that may work currently, but probably is not optimized for being closer to the floors and really providing the light levels that you should be looking for. So once we compiled all that information, we were then able to start with the design process. And just at a high level, what we do is the district has the choice of what the project is going to look like. At the end of the day, it's always the district's choice. We try to facilitate that by grouping recommended projects into a good, better, or best scenario. So that's kind of the framework that we started with. And from just kind of show you the range. So the good would maybe be a simple tube replacement that would achieve some energy savings, but doesn't do anything for the aesthetic. The best scenario is more of a high-end full design effort with retrofit kits instead of bulb replacements, maybe dimming or occupancy sensors, as well as some of the ancillary benefits like cleaning up ceiling tiles, and lens replacements. So that's how we group this effort together. And then we go into the additional parts of it. And that takes into account things like, does the district need to add any additional lighting for security purposes? How do you want to integrate this with your control system, which is also something we're currently working on as well. And lastly, from an equity standpoint or from additional benefits, what are some of the things that we can do around human-centric lighting, which is really designed to help special needs students be as great as they can during the day by color and mood adjusted lighting. So those are all the ancillary benefits that we talk through with the district as well. And again, we just want to thank the district for a really great collaboration effort, and it really made our lives easier to come to the recommended project, which Mark was talking about.
Thanks, Elliot. Again, thank you, board, and Dr. Clark, for having us here. I'm just going to tell you a little bit more detail about the collaborative development. Again, it included maintenance, facilities, operations, business. Even Dr. Wendy Aguirre had a lot of conversation with us about the human-centric lighting, and especially in the special needs classrooms. And so we really wanted to not only retrofit all the lighting, but also bring a more modernized look and enhanced kind of feel in the classroom. I think in our experience with LED lighting retrofits, it can be a shock to some folks, especially if there's a lot of natural light that comes through with windows and just depending on where the space is. That's why we thought the dimming function would be really important. You know, everybody kind of has their own personal feel of the quality of light, the amount of light that comes into the classroom specific to the subject or the student, or whatever is being taught in that lesson today. So we wanted to have that additional functionality, but we also wanted to have that cleaner, more modernized and enhanced look where you have these great looking fixtures, but then you have broken tiles or stained ceiling tiles. You have about 57 different tiles across the district. And so we want to include the replacement of those. So you just have this fresh, modernized look, including the LED lighting. So that's why we're really recommending a lot of these components in that recommended project. You do have some architectural lighting where if we remove the entire fixture, it would trigger DSA. We'd have to go above the ceiling. So we're still going to replace the guts of the light and put a brand new clear lens on it without having to impact DSA. It'll look just like a brand new light. But we want to make sure that the project included a lot of these lens replacements as well. Then the last piece, which we're really excited about, it's a smaller component of the project, but it's 2 years of energy management. And that's where we have boots on the ground, whether it's managing electricity, natural gas, water and sewer, and it's really having a team focused and being an extension of facilities and maintenance to focus on just the unoccupied times, making sure things are either turned down or turned off when no one's at school during long breaks or weekends and what have you. So you're running things as efficient as possible. Also within this 2 years of energy management, since there's so much savings attributed to this project, we want to make sure that that was every month bills loaded into a software program so that you can see the actual savings and we can reconcile that with the business office. And so we thought that was really important because every dollar saved from this project is going to be able to, you know, preserve positions, programs, whatever the priorities are of the district. So we want to make sure that that's monitored and managed, measured, and again, it's reconciled with the business office. So I'm just going to say next slide. So this is the total turnkey project price. Again, it's a turnkey design, build, delivery model. So it requires no change orders. There's no unforeseen conditions. It's not like we have to dig under the ground or go somewhere. We basically factored everything into this project to do a turnkey. And so that includes all the scope items that we already included. That's site management, project management, warranty. I mean, basically, we're here for the next 2 years. If you need adjustments to light, additional inventory for the lighting, it's all packaged in this turnkey model. And again, if we miss something where there's a parking lot pole that we missed and we missed 2 Cobra heads on there, I mean, we are here to cover everything as far as your lighting goes, interior and exterior, which is over 52 sites. So just a couple of the benefits we already talked about, but I'll just focus on a few of them. You know, it's obviously, and we want to enhance the learning environment with this really high quality lighting that can be really customized on the amount of lumens and lighting in dimmable spaces, improving campus safety and security. But I think what I really want to hone in on is how we design and install our exterior lighting is really limiting the light pollution. I think a lot of times we can slap on a new wall pack or a new exterior light, and then all of a sudden you get a phone ringing from a neighbor going, where did this light come from? And so we can use things as filters, or we can move lights away from nearby residences. So we really take a customized approach. And if we get feedback that the exterior lighting isn't work, we'll make it work, and we'll make sure we either use filters, we use shades, we use directional lighting that goes straight down, still providing safety, but not causing a nuisance in the neighborhood. And then I would also mention is part of that energy management piece is this fully managed software. You have over 1,000 utility meters in the district. And so tracking all those utility bills on a monthly basis, we key all that utility data into the software. And again, so we can realize and measure the savings as a result of the Life project. Just below is just the annual, I'm sorry, that's so small for you, but that's just the annual environmental impact. So not only the energy savings, the utility dollars that are saved on each meter across all your sites, but also the environmental impact. And then it makes those types of equivalents in cars removed from the road, trees planted, what have you. So almost $1 million in year one energy savings. That's at the lighting full bore. So we know that even though that number is pretty conservative, we're really excited that you can use a bond program like this to really generate a lot of utility savings, almost just $1 million, like I said, in general fund savings on your utility bills. There's another about $250,000 in O&M savings. A lot of these lights last 20 plus years. And so if a light does fail, there's warranties on it where it gets replaced at no cost. So this is long lasting lighting that is way beyond what you have in place. And so when you look over a 20-year span of time, it's almost $37 million over that time.
Sorry, for the general public, what does O&M stand for?
Operations and maintenance. Yeah. So just a couple of next steps here. You know, obviously tonight is our board presentation. If you were to approve this project, we would start procuring all the lighting. We definitely chose tier 1 lighting like Acuity, Lithonia, big name brands that you're used to. And we've already secured some of that lighting. The install would start around August or towards the end of the summer. And we would get some of that installation going before students return, but a majority of it would be second shift during the school year. And we're basically getting 2 crews going simultaneously in 2 school sites. So we're projecting about a 9-month install for the entire district. Our target is really 6 months. We're going to try to get most of it done in 6 months. So that have a huge impact on this next fiscal year. That's what we're really trying to target. And then just some of the energy management support that we want to bring as early as the week of May 23rd to kind of start doing some audits, understanding what summer programs exist and what things we can do to turn off during the summer at certain schools where there aren't activities, and start looking to gain some energy savings as soon as this summer break. And then that is it. So we're open to any questions or comments.
Questions?
I do. I just want to say thank you. This is an incredible project that I think is so needed. I especially appreciate the piece about the exterior lighting and safety. I was just out at a school meeting just the other night where there was discussion around safety issues, and in particular pockets of the school site that are dark, right? And it's really a problem. So being able to solve that through lighting is really key. And one of the points of discussion that night was, well, but the neighbors, right? So understanding that there are actual solutions out there that can create both the safety and not be a nuisance to the neighbors is really great to hear. And then when I think about the overall energy savings in terms of cost savings, that's incredible and wonderful. But then when you said the energy management that you'd be keying in, do you really have to manually key in every
So
meter?
electricity, a lot of it is downloaded right from PG&E.
Okay.
A lot of the water actually is keyed in. So it's a combination of a lot of bills can be uploaded. I probably shouldn't have said that it's getting
Manually.
That's true.
Right. Yeah. I'm just thinking over the long term after the 2 years, like at some point, can this be an automated system where we really have an agreement with these companies? I know I've heard, community members talk about, could this be a student project where students analyze the data of how we are doing our energy management and what can they do to make sure that we're saving energy. But we haven't had a real great way for them to be able to do that, because where do you get the data for an individual school site or classroom? That's hard for us to,
we definitely have a lot of resources poured into that energy management component. And so student engagement and whether we can kind of partner with some an ecology club or a student group or what have you to work on that database and compile it and enter it and then analyze it and report on it. We've been very successful all over California K-12 in doing that sort of collaboration and student engagement. So
Oh, so you have worked with students before?
absolutely.
Oh, fantastic. Great. Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, we definitely have career pathways at the high school level, but we absolutely have environmental clubs at elementary and middle schools as well that are active in these areas. So thanks.
So will examples of the lighting fixtures that you identify be available for public review or just, I'm curious, period. Because I'm thinking of hallways that have lights embedded in the overhangs that are filled with insects. I'm looking forward to that possibly changing. So I'm just curious, how will we be able to see what you're doing, or will it be just best to see the installation at the first two schools when they're finished?
I'm going to go to the microphones just because we're on recording.
Yeah, we also have, in addition to a site superintendent who's there every day, we also have a project manager who puts together weekly reports that includes photos to show the progress. So we can definitely let him know that if you come across one filled with insects, please flag that and bring it back to the board. But essentially all of our work is documented and reviewed by the district as we're going. So there will be a lot of before and after documentation.
There's one other point that we should mention with this project, because I know that the board has been very interested in eligibility and applying for eligibility, which we haven't been doing. So I wanted to let the board know that the eligibility, some of these projects and some of the school sites will be eligible for remodernization funds. And eligibility is done school site by school site. So many of our newer schools are not going to qualify because they're not old enough. And some of our older schools may have already qualified in the past and may not have as much. But as we look at remodernizing and projects at other school sites, what we'll be doing is we can take what's already being created in this project and have it be part of an application in the future. And so we're taking a look at that for the 10 priority sites that we're identifying work for. And if we have sites that don't have eligibility, really the focus of this is to make sure that we are creating equitable teaching and learning situations and environments across our district. So we will be making sure that all of the sites will have these projects done, whether they come from one funding source or another, which is why you're going to see moving forward that many funding sources will be tapped into for this.
Thank you. On that note of equity, if you're prioritizing, who's going to go first within the 50 school sites and you're going to start with 2, are you doing that based on just kind of which site is ready or which sites need it the most for safety?
Yeah, what we do is we're going to work with the district and call out a schedule that kind of works somewhat geographically. And again, we'll get priorities and feedback from the district and modify as needed. But we typically start every project with a kickoff construction meeting. It's about 90 minutes. And that's where we get a lot of the feedback and we can modify those sites to make sure it's in a proper order that makes sense with the activities or whatever the special dynamics of the school sites are.
So when you made the reference to second shift, you were implying that you would be doing the work outside of the instructional day?
100% of the time,
Okay,
yes.
but some of our school sites have after-school programs that are in our classrooms. You will be able to work around them, or they will move to other rooms when you're working in those rooms.
Absolutely. So we've even discussed internally with the district about, let's say there's a campus like a high school, which sometimes never actually completely shuts down to maybe midnight, but maybe we would start with exterior lighting. And the second shift typically starts around 3 o'clock, where we start to mobilize the supplies in the truck and get the ladders and material. But we would start in an area of the campus or an exterior portion of the campus until that program is over. So the communication, the alignment with the activities specific at the school is going to be really important. And that's why you see installation not starting to August, because we want to make sure we are not impacting the learning environment, these after school programs, extracurriculars. And so we really have to make sure that we're aligned with the schedule. And then we constantly have beginning and end of the week meetings to make sure nothing's changed in the schedule. And if we have to make modifications, we can do so.
Well, this will be a major initiative and challenge for our school site principals and administration. But with the benefits, I'm sure that the cooperation that happens and always looking for the best solution in each instance. So thank you.
So, Madam President, I move to approve the construction amendment number 1 to existing design build agreement with Schneider Electric.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion and a second. Trustee Fowler? And that passes 4-0-1 with approval from our student trustee. Thank you very much, Jim. Okay. Mark, I think now you were going to do school plans.
School site comprehensive safety plans, and we're gonna have our own Sar Alvarado take that. And I know we have a couple of site principals who are out here who are open for questions. We'll go from there.
Good evening, members of the board. Cesar Alvarado, I am general counsel for the school district. And as we do nearly, well, we do that every year around this time, we are bringing forth the updated and redacted comprehensive safety plans that have been adopted by each of the school sites. They have been adopted in conjunction with local safety coordinators, as well as first responders and public safety authorities. We are lucky as well and very grateful to have today the distinguished principals for 3 of our schools who are here to answer any specific questions you may have. We have attached 4 safety plans, sample safety plans for your review, and we have also made available, hopefully you got it this afternoon, a link to all of the redacted safety plans, which we will be uploading to our website no later than tomorrow. I think we have a bit of a technical difficulties in getting them out there, but we will get it out there as soon as possible. And again, we have principals who are available and able to respond to any specific questions.
I'll start just by saying, we do read them. And it's always fun because we find that out, like one school has the Honey Pot Club for, they give out the paws, and another school has a web program and a STAR program. So it really is, I feel for me anyway, educational to go through and read them because I get to hear more things that are happening at the school. But more importantly, it looks like a lot of work, and we thank you for taking the time to be so thorough when you put them together, that we can glean all that information about your school sites. And with that, I'll open up to any other questions or comments from the rest of the board. I think that we're just did it.
And truly, our principals have spearheaded this project, and we are very grateful for their efforts. And it has been a lot of work. So for that, thank you.
I just want to say thank you for all of your work on this, and for, I know each school site really has to put together that school safety committee that engages not only staff but also parents and the local police and things like that. There have been some questions that have come forward recently around what is happening in our schools as far as active shooter drills, and that the best practices from every town are now that active shooter drills are not necessarily the best practice anymore. So I just want to throughout this resource for next year's, once we begin this process again, that every town for gun safety has a fact sheet called How Can We Prevent Gun Violence in American Schools? And it really goes through the research-backed approaches to create safer schools and end gun violence. And it does talk about the active shooter drills, as well as it suggests the University of Virginia's Comprehensive Student Threat Assessment Guidelines, CSTAG program, as an effective tool for preventing school violence. And it also has been shown to be one of the threat assessment programs that does not have a disproportionate impact on Black or Latino students or students with disabilities. So I'm hoping that as we move forward, that we'll take some of the newer best practices into account in our school sites.
Yes, thank you, Ellen. On that point, we are looking to bring in outside resources for us to fully evaluate our existing program. And we will be doing that and bringing that to the board shortly. So yes, we are looking to evaluate the entire program and update all of our practices as well as our training for our personnel.
Thank you.
If you're so desire.
I'll move that the board approve the district's comprehensive safety plans for the 2021 to 22 school year.
Thank you.
Second.
Trustee Bauer,
Yes.
that passes 401 with approval for student trustee. Thank you, ladies, for attending tonight. Thank you. Okay. Do a tap dance or something for us tonight? Are you ready to entertain us?
So good evening, board members and audience members. Before we start, I just want to take a minute or so, and I want to recognize Trustee Fowler and for her work on this board. You know, when I met her, a little less than a year ago, was very impressed as I sat with she and her parents in my office and talked about the position, and just seeing her excitement or whatnot was very gratifying at that point. I don't get a chance often to work closely with students in this role, but I've had the great opportunity to mentor a few students, and you're my second board member who I've been able to work with. And I just want to say that working with you really brings back all of the reasons why I went into this profession, and I'm so excited for you and for your next adventure, moving off and going off to college and really becoming a contributing member to society as a young woman. And can't be more thrilled for what you brought to this board and to your role. And I want to apologize for some of the things that you had to experience in your role and had to deal with. We really put a lot on your shoulders, and you really met the challenge with grace and with exceptional professionalism. I just can't thank you enough. So again, I know you won't come back to visit. Like Michelle didn't come back to visit. That's just how life is. But we're okay with that. We get you just like teachers. We get you for a year, and then you go on to the next grade level and whatnot. So anyway, just thank you very much, and very pleased to get to know you. Absolutely. So, and then before I quickly go over our assessments, I just want to just spend a moment. We're in spring, and we have I don't know who's counting, maybe 15 days left in school, and the last couple of years have been extremely challenging for our students, and that's why we are all here, and our students are showing us that they have had challenges. We've had an increase in in calls for service from medical personnel to deal with student mental issues. We've had we've had over 1,000 suspensions related to fights amongst our students. We have had, different, incidents on social media involving students. We've had some students who have participated in taking illegal substances, and it is a cry out for help. And when you know better, you do better. And I'm going to have some expectations next year that the adults who are here to serve our students, that we all take ownership for our students, and we don't say this is someone else's job to do this, or I don't do that. We all need to come out of our classrooms, come out of our offices, come out of our spaces, and engage with our students where they are, so that we can continue to support them and increase their success rate within our district. So anyway, just as we get ready to roll into the end of final exams and testing and start the promotion and graduation periods and whatnot, I just felt that was really important as we reflect back to say that we need to do more to support our young people, and I'm looking forward to leading that charge. So real quickly, I'm not gonna. This is a 28-page presentation on our district assessment and accountability. I want to thank Dr. Ray Chenoweth for his work on this, and for the team's work, Ms. Saxon and her team in organizing this, and also for all the teachers in the classrooms who've administered these assessments. This is important. This is giving us a baseline of where our students are, and it gives us real-time data, which we can then use to sharpen our skills and keep our focus on the things that are very important to our students and to their success. This is going to be posted on the superintendent's webpage, and therefore it'll be open for any parents, staff members who want to review it. But I've gone over all this before of what the SERV report actions around assessment accountability have asked us to do as a district. So I just real quickly want to touch on our SEL learnings. I probably should put this on my computer so I can see it. So if we look here, this is again what we are measuring are the SEL competencies amongst our students. So with our grades, with our 3rd through 5th graders, about 63% of our students who grades 3 through 5 have reported high levels on SEL competencies. And again, we shared the competencies with all of our teachers. Ms. Roberts' team, our counseling team, has gone out and done trainings, done lessons. All of this is on our counselor webpage. This information is widely available. So we have over 63% of our students have reported high levels, 29% mid levels, 5% low levels, and 2% very low levels. And at the site level, they can drill down and identify where the students are so that they can provide support. Again, it's just the data broken down a little more. In middle school, you can see those numbers drop. So 44% of our middle school students have reported high levels of SEL competency, and 44% mid-level, 8% low levels, and roughly 2% very low levels. So right there in those two data sets, you can see that that there's a need for our middle school students. They are telling us that they need something more. And again, I've heard people discredit these these assessments. So I think we heard something earlier tonight. These aren't to be discredited. They aren't perfect. We've created them in-house, but they do tell us they do provide valuable information for us. And as we look at our high school students, right, the numbers go down even more. So 41% high levels, 48% mid levels, 8% low levels, 2% very low levels. So again, with the data that I shared before I started this about the fighting, here goes our students again verifying that data. How much data do we need to tell us that there's not a program we're not going to bring in, we're not going to bring in a consultant, we're not going to bring in a magic pill that's going to help our students through these challenges. It has to be us as the adults who are hired to serve our students. And when I say adults, all adults, not that adult, everybody. Now I'm not going to go through the TK assessments, although we do have lots of TK assessments. They are getting off to a very good start. I'm going to jump up to first through third grades. Actually, first through third grade are still, the testing window is still open, so we weren't able to close out that data. But going to the fourth and fifth grade students, and again, this is academic, this is VLA. So here we have out of our fourth and fifth grade students, we have 27.9% are working above standard, and 51% are near the standard, and 21% are below the standard. Again, that's ELA. When we combine the above and near, we're at 79%. So again, that's pretty good. I'm not saying that this is going to reflect on our CAF scores. This is our local assessment, but this is good information for our educators and parents and families. Then it's broken down by grade, and we're also showing the growth levels. This is the same information, but this is for math, which 27% above, 35% near, and 37% below. So again, I'm not quite sure about this 82%, but when you add the near and above, come up with that's about 63%. So just made a mistake here, but you can see the below standard, that number has grown to 37% within math, which is typical. Students tend to score higher in ELA than math, but just because this is what the data is telling us, now we know, let's do what we need to do. And again, it's broken down by grade level, broken down by student groups, by race and ethnicity. Again, as what prompted this was our lack of growth with our African-American students, homeless students, and foster youth students. And we have their individual data all there, and will be posted on our website. That is what I shared this time. We weren't able to share grades because, again, this is third quarter, and at the end of the year, we'll share the semester grades. So again, this data is posted on our website. We're being transparent, and hopefully it is being utilized out at the site level. We've invested a lot of time and energy into this data. I want to recognize Margie Calbeck and Samantha Allen for their leadership with their principals in their PLC groups as they're looking at this data. They're looking at the strategies, at our curriculum, at different acts that are taking place, and they do lead those meetings, once a month with our K-12 administrative meetings, but then also their PLC meetings with elementary principals, a separate one for middle school principals, and a separate one for high school administration. So really want to recognize them for that work as they're running around the district, putting out fires right and left, and dealing with all kinds of things that typically take place when you bring a bunch of young people together. So again, as we wrap up the school year, our next governing board meeting will be after our school year has ended, and I think with the challenges that our nation and county and cities are facing, I think that the work here in the Mount Delta Unified School District has been at a high level, and we're looking to not rest on our laurels, but continue to push the organization to do better by our students, and we intend to do that. So again, that concludes my report, unless there's any questions from the trustees.
All right. Takes us to the consent agenda for the meeting.
items listed under consent agenda are considered routine and will be approved or adopted by a single motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. However, any item may be removed from the consent agenda upon the request of any member of the board and acted upon separately. And we have Dan Reynolds who wants to speak before we move forward.
Thank you. Hello again, board. Your agenda for item 15.20 as part of the consent agenda includes the following. Quote, review and potential approval of 2021-2022 school year contract increase between Mount Diablo Unified School District and Speech Pathology Group. And also, quote, when Mount Diablo Unified School District is not able to fill all open positions with district employees, the use of contract agencies is necessary. And then it asks you to increase the amount that you are paying this outside agency by $100,000 to create a new total of $1,160,000 for the year. This is more than $1 million you're spending because you couldn't attract or retain enough qualified speech language pathologists. Speech language pathologists serve a vital role in providing a free, appropriate public education. They work tirelessly with students one-on-one or in small groups, assessing, working, helping. My questions to you now are questions that you have heard from me before. What are you doing to attract the best educators to work with our students? Qualified, dedicated educators. Educators who reflect the makeup of our student population. What are you doing to ensure their work is supported? What are you doing to keep qualified employees once they're hired? How are your hiring timelines impacting your ability to fill vacancies? How are the working conditions, the professional development, and the administrative support in this district impacting your ability to attract and retain the best educators to work with our students? Because if you have to spend more than $1 million a year just in one job classification, it says that you still have work to do.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody wish to pull any members, any items from the consent agenda? I have one I wanted to ask a question on 15.8.
Madam President, I move the board approve the consent agenda as presented. 15.8 being pulled for separate consideration.
Second. Thank you. Second. Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
That passes 401. Student trustee. Dr. Clark, I'm sorry, I tried to find this information.
Ready?
I couldn't find it,
It's
so
all right.
just a quick
Come on
question.
up, Ms. Roberts.
And maybe it's not there because maybe we don't do it anymore. I know we used to pay, and I forget the term for it, but like a service fee to BACR for providing this HR service for us. And I was wondering how much that was, and I couldn't tell from their codes here.
It's still the same that we had back in 1999, which is 5%.
5%.
Yeah. And I think we aren't paying anything for the amendment, but next month we'll be coming back for next year's contract, so it'll should be clear in that one.
That was my, this is last year's.
This was last year's, and it's just an amendment to increase the amount because of our longer summer program and the potential, if approved later on in the agenda, the expansion of 2 new summer programs to pilot this summer.
That would explain then why these figures didn't match
Yeah.
these figures because it's being.
Yeah.
Okay, that was it.
I move that adopt new number 16 point what, which is the amended Bay Area Community Services contract for the years expanded.
Second,
We have a motion and a second, trustee Ballard.
yes.
That passes 401 with trustee. Here we are at 18.2, review of potential approval of the tentative agreement between the clerical, secretarial, and technical unit, local 1, AFSCME, and Mount Deb Unified School District, and the updated salary schedules for the 2021-2022.
Just, Madam President, I just want to just briefly make a quick correction. That's you said item 18.2, and this is actually item 18.1. No, that's all right. And we have Dr. Scudero here to answer any questions regarding this, or do you have anything to say about this item, Dr. Scudero? Can answer your question.
I'll entertain a motion.
Madam President, I move to approve the tentative agreement between the clerical, secretarial, and technical unit, local 1, AFSCME, and Mount Diablo Unified School District, and approve the updated CST salary schedule for 2021-22.
Second,
Motion and a second. Questions? Trustee Ballard?
Yes.
And I just want to take a minute to say thank you to everyone who worked so hard on this, staff, employees, the CST members, CST bargaining unit. This is really exciting, and I think we should celebrate and make sure to spread the word that we have increased salaries and open jobs to fill.
That passed 401 with approval from our student trustee. Okay. 18.2, review of potential approval of the updated CSEA salary schedule for 2021-2022.
Again, if there's any questions, we have Dr. Scudero here to respond.
Questions on that?
I'll move to approve the updated salary schedule for CSEA Mount Diablo Chapter 43 for 2021 to 2022.
Second.
Motion and a second, trustee Ballard.
Yes.
Trustee. 18.3. Review of potential approval of the Mount Diablo Unified School District Expanded Learning Opportunity Program, otherwise known as ELOP plan.
Yeah, and I don't think we're doing a presentation here. I think we're just open
We had it last
to questions.
I'll move to approve the Mount Diablo Unified School District Expanded Learning Opportunity Program, ELOP plan.
Second.
Trustee Ballard.
Yes.
That passes 401. Student trustee. Takes us to 18.4. Review and potential approval of the updated 2021-2022 salary schedule for new duty supervisors and classifications assigned flat hourly rates.
Any questions? Dr. Scudero here is for questions.
Questions on that?
Madam President, I move to approve the updated 2021-22 salary schedules for noon duty supervisors and classifications assigned flat hourly rates.
Second. Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
And a big thank you to all of our noon duty supervisors and everyone who's keeping our campuses safe and students feeling welcomed and positive.
That passes 4-0. Student trustee takes us to 18.5. Review of potential approval of the updates to board policies and administrative regulations of 1,000, 3,000, 6,000, 7,000, and 9,000. And yes, we did have to read all.
Yes. So again, I'm not going to go into a long explanation, but again, as a district, we're trying to establish a baseline of updated policies, and then we will be coming back to the policies later on to then update them individually, adjust language, put Mount Diablo stamp on many of these CSBA policies, but this will provide us with the baseline so that we can move into the new system and not live in two systems of policies. So we're seeking approval.
I just want to say I really appreciate that because I know that there's updates that we've made that aren't showing up on the website yet because they're stuck in that purgatory of not being able to upload them all. So I think this really will get us to the next phase to where people can see.
And I'll be bringing a few forward. So Dr. Clark is there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So having said that, I'll entertain a motion.
Madam President, I move to approve the updated policies and regulations, board policies and administrative regulations for the following categories: 1,000, 3,000, 6,000, 7,000, and 9,000. And the attached, their
Yes. Thank you. Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
That passes 4-0. Student trustee. That will take us to 18.6. Review and approve membership of a new member to the Community Advisory Committee. It's been a couple meetings. I can do it again.
So again, if there's no questions, we're seeking approval for this new member, which is Massetti.
Mr. Corsetti. Madam President, I would Jason Massetti to serve on advisory committee.
Second.
Second, Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
That passes 4-0.
thank you, Jason, for your service.
Yes.
All of your time and efforts. It's exciting to see more of the dyslexia subcommittee being so active. It's such a hot topic right now.
18.7. Approval of special education local plan annual budget and services plan. This is for information, Dr. Clark.
Yes, this is just their first reading, and we'll be bringing this back at a future meeting.
Questions at this time or suggestions before we see it? Resolution 21/22-79 to notify certain classified employees of the decision to not reemploy or to reduce their hours for the 2022-2023 school year.
If you have any questions, we have Dr. Scudero here to address them.
Questions on that? This is for, this, but not this one, correct? Mr. Reynolds, this is later, right? Right. Okay, so we have questions.
I move that we approve resolution 21/22, number 79, to notify certain classified employees of decision to not reemploy or to reduce their hours for the 22-23 school year.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Fowler.
Yes.
That passes 4-0. Student trustee, which takes us to 18.9, review and potential approval of the Mount Diablo Unified School District MDUSD Sunshine Proposal for the 2022-2025 successor contract to the Mount Diablo School Psychologists Association, otherwise known as MITSPA, and the MITSPA Sunshine Proposal for the 2022-2025 successor contract to Mount Diablo Unified School District.
This is just a sunshine proposal. Dr. Scudero is here to respond to any questions.
I don't have any questions. I just want to appreciate that the groups are coming forward and getting ready to negotiate this next phase. I'm hopeful that we'll be able to move more quickly in our negotiations and be able to come to agreements long before contracts expire as we go forward. With that, I move to approve the Mount Diablo Unified School District Sunshine Proposal for the 2022 to 2025 successor contract to the Mount Diablo School Psychologists Association, MITSPA, and MITSPA's Sunshine Proposal for the 2022 to 2025 successor contract to MDUSD.
Second. Thank you. Trustee Fowler.
Yes.
This is 4-0. Student trustee takes us to 18.9, review 10, review of potential approval of classified management job descriptions for custodial and operations coordinator. This is where Mr. Reynolds wanted to speak.
Thank you. Items 18.10, 18.11, and 18.12 all seek to do similar things, and rather than come up here and share the same comments 3 times, I'm going to address my shared concerns about all 3 items. These items seek to approve classified management job descriptions. While it doesn't say so anywhere in the item, I assume that these are new positions that don't exist. Further, because the cost for each of these is roughly $15,000, you've got one at $13,000, 2 at $15,000, and one at $16,000. I assume that these are increased costs associated with giving these titles to someone who is already working in the district. Otherwise, it would cost you more, because the agenda says that these positions are on the DMA salary schedule range 6, 8, and 12. That means that these are positions with salaries that reach $93,700 a year, $108,000 a year, or $121,300 a year. So again, those increases of 15, 15, 13, and 16 suggest that this is someone who you've already employed, but you're going to change the label you give them. Regardless of whether these are additional management positions or new job titles for people you already employ, my comments are the same. This represents yet another way this board, this superintendent, and this district are finding ways to pay your management more. Item 1814 in a minute is going to grant the 4% salary increase that the unions fought and earned, and grant that 4% to the admin. Some of them really deserve that, but I'd be curious to know if you plan to spend months berating them and telling them that you can't afford it, or if you plan to encourage them to stop asking for a fair increase like you did to the many educators who reached out to you repeatedly asking for a fair and just increase, or if you plan on dragging the process out for months longer than you needed to, like you did with the other unions. If you're planning on giving your admin the 4% raise, and then also give the people who end up in these positions even more, it creates a concern for me. Your CBO spent months saying that you couldn't afford a fair and just settlement for educators who work directly with our students every day. Medea members, MUDSPA members, CSEA members, CST members, Teamsters. Months saying you couldn't afford it. But here you are finding ways to pay admin more. Were you being lied to before about affordability? Or is it that your CBO doesn't value the educators in our schools and that you don't value the educators in our schools? Stop inflating management salaries. Use the resources you have to attract and retain the best educators out there to work directly with our students every day.
Review of potential approval of classified management job description for custodial and operations coordinator. Dr. Clark.
Yes, this was part of the FICMAC recommendations, and again, bringing this forward to the board, and we're seeking approval.
Thank you. My understanding was that this was part of a presentation that we received for the entire restructuring of custodial, which was discussed and agreed upon with our Teamsters union, very carefully designed to make sure that they were not overworked and understaffed. So I appreciate all of the work that the Teamsters and our district staff put together to completely redesign this area to make sure that the staffing is aligned with the needs of the sites. With that, I move to approve the classified management job description for custodial and operations coordinator.
For a second.
Second.
Questions? Okay, Trustee Fowler,
Yes.
and that passes 401. Trustee, takes us to 1811. Review of potential approval of classified management job description for custodial and operations manager.
Madam President, I move to approve the classified management job description for custodial and operations manager.
Motion and a second. Stand for questions. Trustee Fowler,
Yes.
that passes 401. Trustee, 1812. Review and potential approval of the classified management job description for landscape manager.
Madam President, I move to approve the classified management job description for landscape manager.
Second. Motion and a second. Any questions, Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
That passes 401. Trustee. 1813, review and potential approval of resolution 21/2281 and 21/2282, showing the proposed decision of the administrative law judge and implementation of the certificated layoff.
Dr. Rubio is going to present this item.
Good evening. Before you members, we have for your review and potential approval, the proposed layoff decision, which includes 2 different exhibits. And I'm happy to say, and I do appreciate the collaborative work we were able to do with Medea earlier this week with the involuntary transfer meetings and, the teachers who have retired or are resigning and who have given us that information. So we have been working diligently, and a big kudos to Emily Lopez in HR, and getting this number down and down and down. I appreciate, again, the work with Medea on this as well. So both exhibits give you a combined total of no more than currently 7 employees now on this list, and we believe we may even get it a little smaller. But where we are today is down to 7 notices instead of the original 5, I believe. So we're working away. It's nothing ideal about this timeline, but it's for review and performance.
Madam President, the board resolutions 21/2281 and 82 to adopt, reject, or modify decision of the administrative law judge to eliminate the full-time equivalents from the Mount Diablo education.
Second.
Questions? Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
Thank you.
Takes us to 14, review and potential approval of the DMV salary. increase.
Yes, and again, it's been standard practice that the board grant the MDUSD managers and confidential unit employees the same increases that our largest unit receives. So we're coming to you with that same thing. If you have questions, Mr. Sheedy is here to answer any questions.
Madam President, I move that the board approve the salary increase as presented.
Second. We're gonna make you just second. Now passes 4-0. Trustee. Review potential approval of the revised 2022 summer school one-time compensation. Trustee Fowler?
Yes. Sorry, I just make sure we do it. Just,
Too busy making a joke.
my right.
For the record.
All right.
Dr. Clark. We are on 1815. Okay, yes, this is the summer school one-time compensation rate. Mr. Sheehy, do you have any additional information for this item?
It's just we're bringing it back in front of the board after we've added different supplemental positions after surveying the school site principals to see which positions they wanted to add. So we wanted to bring that forward because there are some new positions added.
Madam President, I move to approve the revised 2022 summer school one-time compensation rate.
Second.
Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
That passes. Trustee. Agenda for this evening? I was not.
Is that too fast for you?
No, I'm just seeing what we have left here in the room. That's all.
Did we miss anybody?
Started off with a full house.
We did. Okay, well, that will conclude our business for tonight. And we're adjourned. We just have lots of things to sign. So,
Thank you.